Hello, welcome back. We are here, of course, with the second matchup of today. It is the Winners Bracket Finals. One of these two teams that are playing right now will be getting a free day, as well as a Winners Bracket advantage in the Grand Finals. And with that, of course, secure themselves a place in the Grand Finals without having to go to the Loser Bracket Finals, which is going to be played tomorrow, to which the loser of this best of three will be going to. The teams that we see here are Alliance and virtus.pro, and of course with me are two extra people to provide you with all the coverage that you need. We have got Statsman Vykromond in the game, as he will provide you with in-game knowledge that we won't be able to do, but to provide. And I say we. And with we, I mean myself, as well as Kanaz, my co-caster. Kanaz, welcome back.
It's good to be back, and everyone loses.
What? Oh my god, we have a Wisp and maybe we'll keep her with the light. Of course, for people that are watch the pre-show, you'll know what it's about. And a Dragon Knight. Okay, we just totally, like, yeah, that didn't go well. That's two bans by virtus.pro that nobody predicted, I believe.
No, nobody guessed that either of these would happen. So, yeah, everyone loses. That's what we get to see. Keeper Light and Dragon Knight, not common bans by any means. Dragon Knight, in particular, very rarely, if ever, banned out in this first ban phase. So it looks like VP, they might be thinking about going something a little interesting here as we go into this draft. Maybe they're thinking, hey, and we'll just not ban out any of these heroes, and Alliance will have to deal with it just like we will.
Yeah, and Alliance, they're actually thinking really long about this one. I mean, they are, yeah, they don't want to give away the tree, so they will end up banning that one out, but that means that we're gonna have a Bat Rider in the pool and a Darkseer. And what else? I'm missing something. I think that is pretty vital to this one. Which hero am I missing here?
That hasn't been banned out?
That hasn't been banned out. That normally is banned out.
I mean, Bat Rider and Darkseer are both the obvious ones, those you mentioned. I'm not. I mean, other things kind of move around. Nature's Prophet could have been banned and wasn't. Lone Druid often gets banned against Alliance.
But neither actually do.
Yeah, they're just saying whatever, and they probably knew Alliance would ban out the tree, so they get the Bat Rider first pick. And now Alliance get to think about what they want to pick up, if they want to go Lone Druid here, if they want to go Nature's Prophet here. Both heroes that they use to great success. And they could very easily pick them up right off the bat.
Yeah, the question
one
is...
One of them, not both.
Yeah, because, you know, you're going to give one of the two away, and we know that virtus.pro is also pretty good with the Nature's Prophet, so do you really want to give that away? But then again, if you pick up the Nature's Prophet, you don't really need a Bat Rider anymore. It kind of depends on what kind of lanes they want to be running and where they are planning to run that Bat Rider. Is he indeed going to be for KSI in the jungle / on the off lane? Or will it be a solo mid Bat Rider, as we have seen him do before as well? We've got Alliance next to the Lone Druid, taking a long time. It's going to be Chen or Enchantress. I mean, all those signature heroes are still in the pool. It is a Visage, one of the most played heroes of Aki as well. And I already mentioned it during the pre-show. A very high micro hero that can definitely make a difference for Alliance in this game.
Yeah, definitely a powerful support hero. It doesn't have a hard stun, per se, but the slow is very, very effective, stealing both attack speed and movement speed, so it makes Visage faster. And so obviously Soul Assumption is just such a powerful nuke, especially in tri-lane versus tri-lane situations where you're likely to almost always get full charges very quickly during the middle of the fight, anytime there's a real engagement going on. So powerful heroes to start off with Alliance, but virtus.pro, say your heroes are no slouches either, with both Bat Rider and Nature's Prophet being picked up here.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet, I mean, he has such a high success rate as well for KSI, and that kind of means that we're probably going to see Tame My Wild taking on the Bat Rider. I'm actually thinking this might not even be too bad for Alliance. Now, Bat Rider is one of the heroes that can, of course, be very aggressive and will probably win his mid lane. But it is not a Queen of Pain or Puck. Like, he can definitely get kills happening, and he can be the same kind of factor, but it's not one of Tame My Wild's signature heroes. And that might help out, but, I mean, we don't even know for sure if that actually is going to be happening, because they are so versatile here that we could see Nature's Prophet in the jungle / Bat Rider in the jungle. Both can play off lane, both can be solo safe lane. Batrider can go mid as well. I mean, there's plenty of options here. As we've got a Lifestealer getting banned out there by Virtus.pro. Don't want to be dealing that with Alliance. Loda, one of his carries getting banned out there. And we'll see what Alliance has in store next. They use a lot of their bonus time already, by the way.
Yeah, Alliance is spending a lot of time thinking about these picks, particularly now they're spending some more thinking about this first ban for the second ban phase. I don't know what they're going to want to end up going for here with their carry. They haven't given anything away yet, obviously. Usually with Lone Druid, they'll often pick something a little bit more aggressive for Loda so he can get involved in the game. And if they really need to go late game, they can lean on Lone Druid and Admiral Bulldog, just to get that far and be able to be a monster later on in the game. We'll see if that's the case. They're going to go here. If they pick up something that can just get involved very quickly, like a Gyrocopter, typically when played by Loda, he goes for like a Sanjin Yasha build and moves around the map. Tries to get those kills and take towers whenever he gets the chance. So it's possible we could see something like that picked up here if VP decide not to ban it out. Lifestealer, kind of in the same vein, so it makes sense that they would ban that out here. Again, he likes to play that hero, just moving around the map, trying to get involved in fights, and it's kind of the common build, I guess, on Lifestealer now when you play him as sort of an off carry.
No.
And I'm a little surprised to see this OD ban by virtus.pro.
Well, I think we've seen Loda playing the OD before, so that could be effective, because S4 doesn't really play him, does he?
If Alliance played OD, I did not see that game.
I might be also wrong then, but yeah, they ban out the OD, don't want to face that. Probably one of the heroes that can actually win mid against a Batrider. Although I think that a Clockwork can do okay-ish as well, even though of course we saw earlier today that it wasn't the case at all. But I think S4 will have a bit more luck there than what we saw this afternoon. But yeah, interesting ban out there for Virtus.pro. I mean, you can't, like we already discussed, you can't ban out every signature hero of people. And there's already 1.5 signature heroes on Alliance. But also Virtus.pro has got some signature heroes. And I say 1.5 because Visage is not really known as an Aki signature hero. But I do think he is, like he is so good at it that I would say, yeah, it probably is one of his signature hero. If I could, you know, name like a list of them. And they go for the Puck for S4. In the end, surprisingly, as that's not really his type of hero.
I mean, as far as played Puck,
yeah, that's
pretty well.
Yeah.
It's not as something as, I guess, team fighting necessarily as like his Magnus, where he always seems to find amazing RPs, or Dragonite, where he can sort of become an off carry. Puck is going to have to be usually pretty aggressive as the game goes on to really make something happen with that kind of hero. And I don't know if that's exactly what they're going to go for here, but it does help with if they're going to lean on the Lone Druid carry as the game goes on to have something like a Puck to move around the map.
Yeah, and it was the Naga Siren that got banned out still by Alliance, but Virtus.pro, they pick up an Alchemist straight away. We saw them playing this yesterday as well, I believe. Or I might just starting to mix games up, that could be. But yeah, I mean, Alchemist is a solid hero to have, solid carry to have. You can build him different ways. He can be, of course, he got a bit nerfed. I mean, that's definitely something that you have to keep in mind. But he can definitely be a mid-game hero as well as a late-game hero. And the Gyrocopter brings the same kind of thing to Alliance right now as they pick him up. Le Shrek for Virtus.pro, as we see that Virtus.pro is trying to maybe not use as much time as Alliance is using, and that kind of makes Alliance maybe a bit more pressured for picks, because they've only got 11 seconds in their bonus time, and it doesn't look like Virtus.pro is going to give them any more time to think about their draft, as they are the ones to decide who they are going to ban out last. What kind of, like, mid-roll? No, Batrider is probably going to be mid, right? Who are you expecting to see ban out? Like, what kind of hero? Support?
For Alliance here, they can either ban out a support if they expect Leshrac to be a support with another hero. Shadow Demon would have been obviously very good in that tri-lane. Alchemist, Leshrac, Shadow Demon. The disruption for 2 very powerful AoE stuns is pretty good, but they also could just run a very greedy lineup: Batrider off lane, Nature's Prophet jungle, just those 2 as the a dual lane like defensive, and then they could pick up another mid hero very easily. I don't expect Virtus.pro to go that greedy here, but it is something they could do. The stun from Alchemist is enough to set up Splitter from Leshrac, and that's a pretty good amount of lockdown just with those 2 heroes, and they can chase that Admiral Bulldog Lone Druid out of lane with just the 2 of them pretty easily.
Yeah, I think so too. I would otherwise, like in terms of setup heroes, we already got the Bane and the Shadow Demon banned out, but the Rubik is still there. So we might see a Rubik coming off here, as also that is one of the heroes that NS is most successful on and has most played as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see still a Rubik in the end. As Alliance, their last pickup, we're missing a hero for EGM. Now it could be basically any kind of support, but okay, they are the ones to go for the Rubik. Oh my god, and virtus.pro, they don't even need to think about this. They go for a Venomancer. I was not expecting that one.
Yeah, Venomancer are not a hero we see a ton of anymore. I still like Venomancer, but he got way weak when they nerfed Gale. Like that, you can't cast it twice at level 1 without a clarity is absolutely brutal for Venomancer trying to be able to do things in the early game in lane, and that's really where he shines. So I like the pick. I want to see what they're going to do with it. They give it to Arsar at least to start, so it looks like he's going to maybe be roaming a lot, and Venomancer one of the best roamers in the game. And I think EGM Rubik was not at all surprising. That's why they banned out Shadow Demon. If VP had banned out Rubik, maybe they take Nyx.
Yeah.
I think they put VP like really in that position where you get to pick which one you want to face because you know you're going up against one of those two heroes for Alliance.
Yeah, and Rubik, of course, the setup hero that was still on the pool. Very strong one at that. Also a hero that EGM is very successful with. And indeed, that will be on the dire side, Alliance. And it will be EGM on the Rubik with the Dark Face outfit. We've got Bulldog on his signature Lone Druid. Very scary that virtus.pro is allowing him to let go, to actually allowing Bulldog to play this hero, because most teams aren't comfortable with that, but let's see how virtus.pro deals with it. We've got S4 playing the puck. Not one of his most successful heroes, but he definitely has got experience on it. It will be interesting to see how he does up against that Batrider probably. We've got Aki playing his Visage, and then the last one is of course Loda on the Gyrocopter. No real surprise there. The only surprise that I do feel is that where did all his gold go?
On Loda?
Yeah. Am I missing something? Has he pulled someone?
No, he's got a salve and a ring of protection both sitting on the courier for some reason.
Oh, cool, because I was like completely worried that he actually pulled someone and that would be awkward. Looks like we're having a bit of a switch. I was about to say, like, sorry, before you get introduced, virtus.pro, the last couple of times that Alliance were able to pick up the Lone Druid, they ran an aggressive tri-lane and let the Lone Druid farm in the safe lane. Purely because he just needs a bit more gold than he normally would, with the nerf, of course, on the armlet. And, yeah, they are gonna run the aggressive tri-lane and let Admiral Bulldog farm top. But, yeah, for you, virtus.pro.
Yeah, virtus.pro in their off lane, we are going to have Xi taking up Nature's Prophet. Mid lane is going to be Tame My Wild, of course, on the Batrider. And then their defensive tri-lane will be composed of Illidan, farming on the Alchemist, NS playing the Leshrac, and, of course, Arsart on the Venomancer.
Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Of course, Venomancer is known as one of the most strong level 1 supports, purely because of the Gale and the slow that it offers. He doesn't really have, like, they don't really have any saving mechanism though, so if Alliance start going in, the only answer that virtus.pro can do is either run or counter-initiate. There's no, like, for example, a disruption or telekinesis or something to keep people safe. You can try to go for Split Earth, but it needs setup time. Same thing goes for the stun from the Alchemist. And in that case, if you are gonna run, the Gale's of course gonna come in handy. On the other side, you do have Aki that can speed things up again with the Grave Chill, so it will be a bit of a back and forth there. But who do you favor here in this tri-lane?
I think Visage is just such a monster in tri-lane versus tri-lane situations that I'm going to favor Alliance just a little bit, but things can go either way very easily, just depending on who initiates, and here's VP.
Yeah, they're gonna go on Loda. The Gale already hit, but the counter initiation is there. Loda actually takes a ton of damage. The Split Earth was on par, and it is the first blood that goes to Arsart. Alliance lose their carry. One Gale was all it took. The Gale setting up for the Split Earth, the stun hitting, and that is the kill. The first blood taken.
Yeah, the second... well, here they're gonna go again now.
Yeah, Rocket Rush still there. The stun is gonna hit. And it is gonna be Loda that they want to go for again. The Split Earth is on there again, and he goes down for the second time. They go for Aki next. Aki in a lot of trouble. Aki dead. And that is gonna be virtus.pro cleaning out this aggressive tri-lane. And I think Alliance, they are probably gonna... They should rotate. Are they gonna come back here now that they gave away 3 kills in total?
Well, the problem is if you rotate, you're going to send Lone Druid and be like, hey, Admiral Bulldog, you go take care of this problem we just created for ourselves. And that's not the best idea either, especially since Gyrocopter now has died twice. He's probably not going to be coming online as a very heavy carry for quite some time. And, yeah, so I was saying that I favor Alliance's tri-lane a little bit, but right as I was talking then, I saw Aki used the Grave Chill just kind of at random.
Yeah.
On Illidan, and I was about to say they're gonna turn it around. Once you put one of your spells on cooldown, and they know that he has Grave Chill at level 1, so he doesn't have Soul Assumption, there's no risk of that nuke coming out. It's very easy for virtus.pro to say, alright, well, we're gonna punish you and kill Loda. So that's what they do. They get those kills, and now they're way ahead in this tri-lane, and it doesn't really even matter. Like, both tri-lanes are very powerful, so being ahead by that much is a huge advantage.
Yeah, and we do see that Alliance is taking it a bit more calm here. They are a lot more careful here, and that's of course needed. In the meantime, in the mid lane, we have got Tamar Wild sitting on 19 for 3 on last hits, with S4 on 15 for 1. So it is virtus.pro that is winning the mid lane, even by a small amount, but winning nonetheless. On the top lane, we are going to be seeing KSI sitting on 6 to 5 though, with Bulldog on 13 for 4, so he is winning his lane, no surprise there. And Orb of Venom on the Venomancer. And they're gonna go again on Loda. Loda is already dead. Once more, in comes KSI just to help out. Maybe they can get another more. And yes, it stacks. It is also Arstart. He actually gets his level 2 in Gale. More aggression. That means there's more aggression. Often, for example, if you see Mousesports playing Venomancer, he would go for Plague Wards just to, you know, start pushing at some point as well. But this is just gonna be a very aggressive Venomancer, and with the kills that he's been getting, I mean, he's got 2 of the 4, he might turn into a semi-carry. It is an agility hero, and it can be very dangerous.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to really pick up carry-ish items, but it's certainly possible he could go something like Shadowblade, Manta even, if he really wants to go that route as the game goes on. For now, though, he's going to be such a nuisance in this lane, and it's also invisible at the moment, and they both picked up boots. It's like Alliance, their tri-lane is so behind that they can't even really afford to get that far away from this tower at this point. And we're going to see that now. They're just like staying back near it.
Yeah, and they don't even see it, but the stun is already getting charged off. Gonna hit an EGM. Here comes a follow-up stun from the Shrek, and EGM is dead. It wasn't even a very long charge up. That was just a stun.
Yeah,
and there was not.
That's what I was saying during the draft. That they don't need another setup really because they have the Alchemist carry.
Yeah.
The Unstable Concoction's enough of a setup for Leshrek's stun to just come off. So you could just throw that Alchemist stun without even that much of a charge up, and Leshrek, that's enough time for Leshrek to hit whenever they want. Having the Gale slow as well, it means you can put that Gale down after they're already been stunned and the stun's going to end.
Yeah.
You won't ever miss the Gale, which is, it's got kind of a slow projectile. You can sometimes miss it. And that means you're never getting really away from this Alliance line, especially with Orb of Venom, Poison Sting slowing you constantly as well.
So Alliance, they're winning top, they're losing bottom, they're losing middle. What's their game plan? When are they gonna try to make a change? Because I think, oh, hello, we have got a bit of a change. EGM comes top, that's a little bit of a change. Loda's still bottom though. 0-3-0. And we did say during the draft that, or sorry, during the pre-show even, both teams are very good at playing from behind. But how far behind can you actually be to still be getting back into the game, right?
Yeah, the further and further behind you get, then the harder it is to actually make some sort of comeback. So as it stands now, they're obviously not out of it by any means. Bulldog's still getting tons of farm up in this top lane. Maybe we could see him go double Midas like he did the other day against Liquid, and if that works out for them, who knows. The problem is, if Alchemist gets really big, and because he sort of becomes a super hard carry so early just as a result of Grievel's Greed, it's going to be hard for them to teamfight even with something like Lone Druid, because it'll take him so much longer to really get that farm level the Alchemist is going to achieve.
Yeah, we do see at virtus.pro though, like they have got of course 5-0, pretty decent lead. But right now, they're not doing anything anymore. As in, they're not being aggressive anymore. While Loda has got flat cannon level 1, so is trying to clean out some ancients, getting some farm up there. We have a rotation from supports for Aki and EGM. Maybe thinking about going mid, make a difference there, or at least do something, even though there's no hero around there. Tim Wild pretty far back. But this might actually be something like Alliance has been given some time here. The question is, what are they gonna do with it? Are they gonna try to just, you know, sit back, farm, or are they actually gonna try and make something happen even though they know that they are behind?
Well, it's hard really to say if they're going to be able to make something happen. So they are kind of giving up on the bottom lane at this point. Maybe they should have done it earlier, and you can make arguments for it. Regardless, that's going to open up these supports for VP to do things as well. So that's kind of the problem that you're going to end up with, is are they going to be able to do things by moving around? Are they going to be able to maybe even passive up the game a little bit to try and catch back up after that early advantage they gave to VP? And how badly are the supports on the side of VP going to punish you for even trying such a thing? Remains to be seen, but if Arsart can move around and get some kills with this Venomizer, and he's actually hanging out in the mid lane farming at the moment, it looks like, while Batrider's in the jungle.
And Batrider has got a lasso. Maybe he's trying to bait something out. Even though Batrider, of course, doesn't have... It is nighttime, so he can sit there, but he doesn't have a blink dagger or anything like it. And I think that Arsart's going to be happy with the farm that he's getting right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you can give the farm to a support while, like... Batrider should probably be doing something, though. Not just completely just standing there. Whether it's stacking in the jungle, it looks like he is doing some stacks now, so maybe he's setting up where he's going to do a little bit of jungle farming for a moment.
Yeah, both teams just being happy with the situation at the moment. Well, I guess Alliance is not really happy with the situation, obviously. But at least they are not trying to change anything. And like 5-0, that's an amazing score, right? But it is very early on kills. Kills early on mean less than kills later on, so if Alliance can just hold on until they feel confident enough to take fights and actually take a couple fights, 1 kill or maybe even 2 can set them back into this game if it is later on, right?
Yep, and there's Midas #1 for Admiral Bulldog.
Do you think he's gonna go for 2?
I think if they don't try and stop him and he continues just sitting up here farming, it's pretty likely that he'll go for a second one. He just did it the other day in pretty much the exact same situation where his team was struggling early on. It does slow you down quite a bit, but if they're already out of the mid game, he could just try and say, well, I'm going to commit super hard that as the game goes on, I'm going to get really big on this bear. Also possible, he could go for something else, like Radiance if he just wants to rush that to get involved in the fight.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he has options. I'm not surprised to see a Midas, though, when he's getting good farm and his team is struggling.
Yeah, one thing that is kind of course, the case here for virtus.pro, and even though, of course, Airman, he does have level 3 in Grievel's Greed, so that he gets extra farm from the last hits he does get, but with the amount of fighting that was going on early in the game, his last hits haven't been really all that amazing. He's got 47 to 16, while, for example, Admiral Bulldog, who has been free farming almost, not quite, because, of course, there, wait a second, Loda in trouble, Gale hits, here comes an S with the Split Earth. Gets dodged though, but let's see how long he can run. The Edict and a Lightning and a kill. Here comes S4! Here comes S4! Double kill! Dream Coil winning. Rift Getski is there as well. Where's more people? They want to take down this Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet cannot TP himself out. And that is gonna be a triple kill for S4's Puck. Now Eldon, he just threw out a stun, making sure that Ake couldn't join the fight. But oh my god, that was just a triple kill, and I just said kills later on mean more, and this triple kill definitely puts Alliance back on the map.
Yeah, just kind of silly. They went really far. You can't be like taking that long to get a kill behind a tier 1 tower, especially this late in the game and against a hero like Puck who's going to be able to initiate from that range very quickly. They immediately tried to TP out, which was the right call because they knew they needed to get out immediately upon the kill taking place. I think they might have actually been able to TP out sooner and let the Edict from NS finish off the kill. It was doing a lot of damage. We saw it almost killed S4 at one point as he was forced to retreat out there. Top lane, though, they're going to go on Bulldog.
Oh, the Gale already hit. The Entangle is going to be there upon Tamer Wild, though, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Bulldog is going to be dead. Doesn't take a kill with him. Doesn't take a tower with him either because there was a deny on the tower, actually. And this is a pretty big pickup for virtus.pro. I mean, Lone Druid Admiral Bulldog was the highest farmer on the map for Alliance, so a pretty prominent kill for them to get. As we see Arsart again, I mean, just want to point out, he is totally skipping Plague Wards at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not actually surprised to see this. I don't think Plague Wards are as good as they once were. And you also have to commit really hard to Plague Wards. They're terrible at low levels.
Yeah,
they have no HP. Yeah, they have 75 HP at level 1 and then 200 at level 2. So by going up by 125 HP per level makes the level 1 awful, and eventually the level 4 will be pretty good.
Yeah, we have got a very fast Blink Dagger up on Tamar Wild. He just has Brown Boots though, but let's see if he can put it to even more use, as he already used it earlier on just on the top lane. But with that, I think virtus.pro's plan is just to try and create as much distraction as they can to make sure that Illidan, of course, can continue farming here on the bottom lane, where Loda, by the way, came back as well. I mean, I can talk about Loda's farm, but it's lower than the Venomancers, and yeah. So I think for now we're just gonna have to give Loda time and see how fast he can farm back up after being shut down so heavily. 4 of the 7 kills on the side of virtus.pro are on him, and that is just very painful. But with time, a gyrocopter with Flak Cannon, I mean, he can definitely get back into this game for sure. A couple of team fights, cooldown. Flak Cannon is very prominent in team fights, and they can definitely make it happen if they just stay cool. It's gonna be important.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true for Alliance, and I think that's one of their strengths, is that they can remain cool under pressure. They don't start making lots of mistakes. Like you might see some other teams do, when they know they're being pressured, they'll start going for very, very risky plays, and they don't work out very often, then they end up just losing the game early.
The bear. And maybe he misclicked, but he got the bear up on the high ground in the flames. I think the bear is going to be just fine, though. He can blink himself away in a second, so... I think Tamar Wild misclicked there. I think he wanted to get Bulldog.
Yeah, I don't think he would want to get the bear there. There's no real benefit to pulling the bear on the cliff, because again, he just has recall. You just pull it back, it's whatever. You wasted like 6 seconds of Bulldog's time for your ultimate. Not the biggest deal. virtus.pro though, as long as they keep the pressure on and they keep moving the pressure around, they're not just like focusing on one hero completely. They have to make sure that both Bulldog and Loda are being at least slowed down quite a bit while Alchemist is getting this ring to farm.
Yeah, and in the meantime, of course, S4 wasn't really winning his lane. And... oh yeah, there's again a first... BKB first up on the Alchemist. And I told you that he was playing this yesterday as well. Went for a BKB again. Obviously he won with that because he 2-0'd IC Cup at that point. But yeah, I mean, S4, he has got his Blink Dagger right now. He's got that triple kill, so he's 3-0-0. And with his Blink Dagger, the aggression that comes from virtus.pro, you already mentioned, like they have to just keep Alliance busy and also continue to shut down everybody, not just one. I think S4 can do the same thing for his team, as in trying to keep virtus.pro busy, so one of their carries at least is going to be able to get farm, as we have actually a smoke up for virtus.pro.
Yeah, they can certainly try to shut down. They only have to focus really the Alchemist for Alliance. And I'll shut up if the smoking starts to make something happen. Yeah. But the problem with Alchemist is that Puck really can't kill Alchemist by himself. Has a lot of HP, especially in that ultimate form.
Oh,
and it's very
difficult. Blink forward, here comes the last two. S4 TPing in though, and he comes in. Nice Dream Call up on 2, lightning burning through as well as S4. So much damage coming through, but the Batrider goes down, Arsart goes down, and is running from the bear. Poisonous bear, looking for entangles, can't find the entangles, just said, oh, phase shift, S4, so careful, lightning! Why was he still in range? He was hoping to get in range for the experience, but he just gave his life away. He could have stayed alive. He could have lived. It's so frustrating. But they do end up killing all 3 people that came here. Of course, S4 is the only one that died for it, but yeah, it's frustrating. Sorry.
Something's going on. I don't know what it is, but that fight did not work out the way VP wanted it to. They're trying really hard to shut down Admiral Bulldog, which again I don't think is surprising in any means that they're trying that hard, and he is going for the Rushed Radiance. It looks like this game. maybe the right call. He's going to be able to get it in the near future with that minus.
Bottom lane, they're gonna go on Loda again. Here comes a stun. Fairly long range. TP in again. Fun S4, but I don't think he's gonna be in time today. Cooldown still comes down from Loda, but the BKB gets turned on. Venomancer already gets picked off for the second time within a couple of minutes. And Illidan with his first 10-second BKB. He's able to run himself into safety. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Support Venomancer versus not so much carry-ish Gyrocopter, who is now sitting below the net worth of the Leshrac. It's very sad. But yeah, I mean, it's in terms of net worth, it's a better trade for Alliance, but of course, you do lose your Gyrocopter again.
Yeah, it just ends up being a trade, and it's one that does favor VP, though, with how the game is going. Not by that much, since Loda isn't really that valuable to his team at the moment. So the good thing, though, is that Illidan did get the last hit, so he is around another kill. He got the last hit on that one, and he was able to just get away without anything really happening to him. It gets more farm for him, and he's going to continue moving around on the map. Rubik was able to steal Chemical Rage. It's a pretty neat skill to have. It gives him some additional move speed, as well as the bonus health, which is very valuable.
Yeah,
on a hero like Rubik, that is just natural. Yeah, because he's so naturally squishy. Having that bonus HP and move speed is something that he's going to be happy to have for a while. Probably will be looking to replace it with a more active ability, but we'll likely pop it just heading into the next fight.
Yeah, we've got an invisible Bat Rider, but I don't think they want to try to do the same thing again. So he found out that there were more than one people there and went back. So he's going to have a lot of wasted time here. The same thing goes for Ness and Arstart that have been hanging around with him, but they are... And this is the second time they do this. They play a lot of the waiting game and trying to find people, and in the meantime Alliance just keeps farming. We still have Lone Druid just catching up on his farm. S4 doing the same thing, even though S4 spends a lot of gold on TPs as he tries to help his team. The moment that something happens, he needs to be there. That is of course his role. He needs to be that mid-game hero, and that's why we see him in every fight. Gold graph is being kept even right now, though. virtus.pro still ahead by 4k. Of course, they are also one tower ahead, and the tower that Alliance, the towers are even, but the tower that Alliance got actually got denied. So, in that sense, they are a bit ahead. They are also having a hero with Grievel's Greed. That helps in terms of net worth for the team quite a bit, as well as having Nature's Prophet just getting quite a bit there on the jungle. A lot more than, for example, Loda got in total. But the difference is not that much anymore. Experience graph is showing it more how we maybe feel it is. It is around the 0 line, and Alliance, even with a Gyrocopter that is not doing anything, they are still doing quite okay, considering.
Yeah, they're doing fine. I think one of the biggest problems, though, is that the supports from Alliance aren't really doing that much here. They've been involved in a couple counter ganks, but I think those counter ganks were mostly won on the back of S4 anyways.
Yes.
And as a result, they've kind of just been sitting around quite a bit. Rubik was just like standing bottom watching Alchemist farm. He couldn't really get close ever because he would die. It's not really the ideal thing for Alliance to be doing. They're trying to stay in this game, and Bulldog is doing a good job of that with his farm. S4 also doing a great job with these counter ganks. They're going to get this tower in the mid lane too. That was Bulldog the last hit.
Yeah, some 5-man Dota going on right here.
Yeah, they have the Radiance up on the Bear, which is why they're doing this. They can just force the fight in that lane very easily, and the Radiance burn is too damaging at this point in the game for those supports to want to be around at all. And of course, the supports have been very successful for VP.
Yeah, look at that timing on the Radiance, 1.5 minutes faster. Even though, I mean, he was up against only the Nature's Prophet at the start. Nature's Prophet did rotate into the jungle at some point, and of course left his lane to try and help with a couple of kills. But yeah, very fast Radiance coming off from Lone Druid here, and he is going to be sitting top again to try and defend, but I don't think he's going to be hanging around for very long, because in comes Nature's Prophet. Even Airman has rotated on his Alchemist to try and push down this tower. They might lose their own tier 1 on the bottom lane in return. But actually Alliance doesn't look to be getting towards the tower before virtus.pro has actually already taken down this one. So 5-man Dota being played by both teams. Both teams get themselves a tier 1 out of it, and both teams back off afterwards.
Yeah, definitely, and we're going to see if VP, they'll be able to just go bottom lane and defend this tower if they really want to. But it doesn't look like they're going for it yet, so they might be just committing to pushing in this top lane now that the Bear's been recalled by Emerald Bulldog, not slowing down their push with that range, just killing off the creep waves. They're not really pushing that hard, though. They're not going that fast, which is somewhat surprising.
Considering they have a Leshrac. They don't have Venomance awards. That's it. Actually, they have got one. Sorry.
I'm not. The problem is that they're not capable of pushing with their heroes. It's just they weren't really forcing the fight on the creep wave really right away. They were sort of hanging out in the jungle, not sure if that's what they wanted to do, and that gave time for Alliance to get close to their 2-2 tower in the bottom lane. So now it's just going to be a trade
Base
and
race.
I can't. They're not going to go all the way to tier 4s right now.
Oh, really
just
not?
both teams ignoring each
How
other.
do you know? It would be so hilarious. Now, Alliance already goes back. Towers on both sides, of course, go down. We do have a Mechanism up on our side, by the way. Mechanism on the side of Alliance, who is building towards it. Is anybody actually building towards it? It doesn't look like it. Visage is nowhere near, as well as EGM not being anywhere near, and that kind of means that virtus.pro, in terms of teamfight, is going to be getting ahead with that. EGM going for Blink Dagger first item, you reckon?
I don't know. It's really hard for me to say if that's what they're going to go for here. I'm still trying to figure out what exactly Loda's going to be doing as the game goes on, because he's like, they're stacking for him and he's trying to get back in it. He still didn't have even that close to BKB.
He's getting more and more farm though, and I mean, yeah, he's gonna have his min through hammer soon, but he is still 1600 gold off of the entire thing, so of the entire BKB, and that's quite a heavy pill to take. Also, if he's gonna be in fights, he's gonna be very squishy. He can't really afford to be in fights, even if like he would afford to be in fights if they actually won the fight. But even if they win, there's still a pretty high chance that he dies, purely because he's this far behind, and you can't really afford that. So. It's a tough situation, because if he's not in fights, and fights will happen, Alliance is gonna fight with 4, and you don't want that. And even if they do win, you don't get Loda won't get the experience of the win of the fight they get. So it's gonna be a very delicate situation for Alliance to be in. And we actually see virtus.pro rotating a little bit. They find the ancient stack, and that's gonna be free gold for our men. But does Alliance want to fight this? We do have extra TPs coming in there, and it looks like they want to try and go for this. The bear already comes in with his radiance, forces him back a little bit, but. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was enough. Flame Break helping out a little bit, but... Oh. Well, careful for the bear here, though, because if they kill this bear, it's pretty painful for Bulldog. Actually, this is pretty painful for Arsart. He already forced out the mechanism with just a Radiance burn. And they're gonna continue going. Oh, Bulldog, don't get over aggressive right now. Looking for entangles up on Illidan. His chemical rage is ended and he doesn't have him left. Telekinesis. BKB gets turned on, but it's too late. He still lands a 2-man stun, but it doesn't matter. Airman is dead. Alliance get themselves a kill. Dream Coil. S4 jumps himself in. And S is going to be the target that he only got with that one Dream Coil. And S4 himself actually takes a ton of damage. Has to back himself out. KSI TPs himself into the fight. And everybody of Alliance backs himself out. Apart from the bear, who does end up dropping. There will be a resummon of the bear available. And I don't think that Alliance really wants to fight right now, but they might end up losing their tier 1 tower because of it. Or will they fight it?
That was... Illidan played that so very poorly. He didn't want to use his BKB, sure, that's fine, but like, Rubik is charging at you, you could see him the entire time. He waits until Rubik lifts him up and he loses down to a quarter HP, and then immediately pops BKB and it just dies. So he ends up wasting the BKB charge anyway. It's on cooldown now. It was forced to buy back, so he lost a bunch of gold out of it, and gave a bunch of golden experience to Rubik that wasn't really having a great game thus far. I just don't know why Illidan decided to play it that way. I understand wanting to save the BKB, but he was forced to use it, I think, at that point.
Yeah, and he is actually, like, this was the first time that he actually died. He's got himself the AC, so Karaz is ready up on him. More fight potential for virtus.pro. They've got the mechanism, they've got the AC aura, and Alliance still kind of lacking in terms of team fight. Why? Can you click on Puck and tell me if he doesn't have any wings and if he's bald?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Puck is bald. Bald?
Does Puck have hair?
No, but I mean he doesn't have wings or anything like that.
Oh, I don't know. Mine Puck looks regular.
Oh, that's weird. But I mean, there's no Assault Crash yet up on the bear, even though he's building towards it. There's no mechanism up on anybody of Alliance. We have the Ghost Scepter being purchased by the Rubik, so he can live up against that Alchemist, of course. But it is, like, in teamfight potential, you've got the cooldown, you've got the Radiance Aura. It's still pretty strong, but if you are up against a team with a mechanism and a Assault Cuirass, that actually makes a pretty big difference. There's a smoke up from Alliance. And they are looking to be moving towards the Radiant jungle. Let's see if they can find someone. We already have a Nest backing off though. On the bottom line, Arsart also being very careful. Who is building towards a pipe, by the way. More teamfight items coming off for virtus.pro. Oh, can they get Alchemist is the question. If S4 jumps in, he's gonna jump into 4 people. Nature's Prophet is the only one not there. It's probably not the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, and they have to stun lock him before he can pop his BKB, and they don't have the heroes really to do that. If they can just get him with the telekinesis, I guess right after the Dream Coil mini stun maybe, but Rubik would have to be very close. And Rubik doesn't have a Blink Dagger, he bought a Ghost Scepter, which is almost certainly a better pickup. It's just like whatever. They did smoke like in the mid lane though, and there was this ward here.
Yeah.
So I think they probably saw it. I didn't see if they smoked behind the tower or like right next to the tower. I think they were probably spotted though, and that's why VP are playing so cautiously.
Yeah, and then they placed a sentry ward, but the sentry ward actually didn't catch the observer that was right next to it. So it was kind of sad for Alliance. They wasted a bit of a time. They wasted their smoke, and virtus.pro, they probably know that. So they know that they wasted some time. So they're gonna check on Roshan, but that's not being attempted right now, even though it could be. Alliance, they are wasting a lot of their time, and I mean the stack of Ancients isn't really that big in the meantime. BKB is almost done on Loda. Almost.
Almost. Only 30 minutes in. 27 and a half.
Oh, it's such, like, it's so sad. Like, we have got 9 to 8 on the kill score right now. It's very even now. But 5 of those kills happen before the 10-minute mark, and all one for virtus.pro. 5 of the 9. It's kind of sad. For virtus.pro. Sorry, for Alliance. Actually, it's kind of sad for virtus.pro as well, because they couldn't hold on to their lead, and all of a sudden they're back to even again, and they have to be playing a bit more careful, I think. Although they are still ahead, though, don't get me wrong. 8k in gold in favor. Experience graph going towards the 4k, but that's, like, that experience graph spike up is of course mostly because Alliance just wasted tons of times where they didn't get anything.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. I think one of the biggest problems right now though is that Lone Druid is pretty much as big, maybe a little smaller, like 1 item smaller than Alchemist. But they do have a gyrocopter, even though he's not that farmed, that's eventually going to be relevant in the game. He has his BKB now, so he's a little bit more survivable. And sort of VP are going to have trouble against this like dual carry lineup if they wait too long, especially with how well Lone Druid has been farming. Nature's Prophet, he's trying to go for the Scythe of Eyes now. That can help with trying to kill the bear, but we see already VP avoiding this fight. I feel like they have to know this is going on.
Yeah.
With everyone missing on the map, and they have their lanes pushing out, especially the top lane.
And there's gonna be a ward coming off from Arsart. They will realize, but it's gonna be too late to do something about it. Or will it? Flame Break! Up to the high ground with Loda. Roshan still goes down. Age is picked up by Bulldog. There comes a Dream Coil up on 2. BKB turned on by Airman. S4! Trouble! Dead! Looking for the next target. Finds Aki. And that is a basher up on Illidan indeed. Lasso up on Bulldog. Will they be able to take the Aegis away from him? It looks like they can. And S standing there. Nova Edict. Bulldog runs himself out. Illidan. Trouble is able to get a stun off up on Aki. Doesn't get the kill with it, but in the meantime Arsart will. He still ends up going down. Arsart will end up probably going down as well, as we have got Bulldog in the end getting KSI as well. He does lose his Aegis for that kill on the Nature's Prophet, as we see Loda. I mean, he really wants this kill. Vengeance, he thinks. You know what? You know what's funny? Loda didn't even...
the kill?
Yes. If this was his first, like, I was following him, I was praying for him, it was like his first kill, but no. In the meantime, though, that was a team wipe. Alliance, they lose the Aegis, they lose Aki, but, oh, and they also lost S4, of course, very early on, but he brought back, but they do get a team wipe out of it, and it looks like they are gonna get a tier 2 out of it as well.
Yeah, it was just, VP waited too long to try and go in there. They pushed Gyrocopter up on top of the cliff, which is one of the better heroes, I guess, to push up there.
Yes.
Aki and EGM obviously don't have a ton of impact. Admiral Bulldog, if you push him up there, he's just like safe and the bear will fight you down the bottom of the cliff. So that's pretty good. They got S4 down before he had too much of an impact in the fight. Was able to get most of his spells off, and then he buys back and comes back in. It just didn't work out the way VP needed it to, and it's because they don't have the carry potential, especially to get through this Lone Druid is so tanky right now. He has a lot of health, and they don't have the damage to do anything about it. Illidan still doesn't really hit that hard, even with the AC. Particularly because the AC is being mitigated by Lone Druid's own AC.
Yes. And on top of that, I mean, he did get a couple of supports. He did, of course, get S4 as well. But, I mean, he got entangled, and then you saw that virtus.pro, their attack kind of stopped. I mean, he couldn't do anything anymore, obviously, because he is entangled and everybody moves away from him, and that's going to be such a pain for him to deal with that Lone Druid overall. And I really like what Bulldog did here. He put the Assault Cuirass on himself before he picked up... he put the Radiance on himself before he picked up the rune. The Illusions. Rune, and gets himself a Radiance Illusion, so pretty nice for him. As his bear, of course, is the one with the Radiance. And now also, I mean, he is just following the skill build, or the item build rather, of Illidan to the number, apart from the, of course, Hand of Midas, but that's countering the Grievel's Greed in a way. But yeah, the same items up on these two people. Players, heroes, champions.
Well, and BKB and Radiance are also not the same.
Yeah, the Radiance is not there, but they look the same, they're same color.
They're both yellow, alright.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're going for similar items, which is not surprising. These items are both pretty powerful and common on the two heroes. Basher and AC is just kind of the standard on both of them. Hopefully, though, Alchemist will be going for his Abyssal, and actually he's really close to it. I would imagine that's what he's going to do here, is just finish off the Basher into an Abyssal Blade, gives him another reliable stun for trying to take out S4 in the fights, or going through the BKB if Loda, if they want to go that route and try and get that kill. But it also, more importantly, gives him a lot more damage, and that's what they need here. He needs to be able to really start trying to shred through this bear, through this gyrocopter as the fights go on, if they want to be able to win fights, because he is pretty much all of their damage right now. He can start picking up damage now that he has finished his Scythe of Ice, but for now he doesn't hit that hard. He attacks pretty slow. He hits like for 150, which is becoming less and less relevant because of the armor up on heroes like Lone Druid. He has 25 armor. So, damage, I think, is what's going to have to be coming out here from VP if they want to win these fights, just because of how survivable Alliance is as a team, and just Lone Druid as a hero.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing them being more survivable, even as Aki has started to build up towards a mechanism, finally. We do almost have a pipe completed up on the Venomancer, though, and that might mean that they can live a bit longer in these fights as well. And, I mean, if Illidan is able to live longer, he now has an Abyssal as well. We might see a bit of a change in terms of him being able to pick off more heroes before he is actually entangled. Of course, that's basically what he is doing, hoping that he doesn't get entangled and, you know, try to hit as much heroes as he can before he does. And when he is unentangled, he will, you know, try to at least survive during the entangle. But we'll see. We now also, of course, have the Basher on the bear. So if the bear is being set on Illidan, he is just in so much trouble. And as you already pointed out, in terms of damage from other sources, it's not really there just yet. It can be there. It can definitely be there. Venomancer is one that can at some point do a bit more damage in the late game. We have got a Leshrac that with his Nova and Edict on should not be underestimated, and no pipe up on Alliance, so quite a bit of damage going through there as well. And yeah, Nature's Prophet. He is probably the one that is most needed to build semi-carry items and give that guy a Desolator or something. And a Crystal as well, we're at it. I mean, that will allow virtus.pro to also be relying on 2 cores instead of one only focusing up on Illidan.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get those items in a relevant time frame, it'll certainly be powerful. Desolator could be good if he wants to go that route. Also helps with split pushing. Or he can just pick up some more raw damage like the Daedalus very easily. Regardless, they are going to need to get those items up, and that's just giving more and more time for Alliance to get Loda back in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is starting to build towards Butterfly. So he is getting there slowly but steadily. In terms of net worth, actually, he is very close to the Nature's Prophet, who is, of course, the semi-carry of virtus.pro. And I think by this time, we can definitely say, like, in this game, it is Bulldog that is the carry, it is Loda that is the semi-carry, and the utility hero with the flank cannon and Baraka Barrage, and the cooldown, I mean. Other than that, he doesn't offer that much, but it's starting to become more and more important, as we have actually a Gem of Truth set picked up by Alliance, so the Ghost Scepter picked up by Xi is not going to be meaning that much anymore. And I think one of the things that we also have to look out for the next fight especially, which is probably not going to happen until Roshan is back up again, because both teams, they probably only want to fight when they know they're ahead, and right now they are feeling it is even. and Aegis will put your team in back in favor. But yeah, I mean, it is going to be buyback that are going to be very important, and of course the location on where the fight's actually happening. Because the closer you are to your base, the faster you can get back into the fight. But if you lose more. So it's a bit of a trade you give away there.
Yeah, but the game's also close enough that I don't think if there are a sufficient amount of buybacks that even if they start losing the fight, they're going to be able to continue beating them, unless Illidan like just absolutely demolishes a path through the enemy team, and then they buy back kind of one at a time and keep getting killed. Because he can do consistent damage, but spells aren't really going to be able to keep coming out from the rest of these heroes. They're not going to have that Venomancer ult, they're not going to have Batrider ult, and obviously Leshrac doesn't really have a ton of items, so he's going to just burn through his mana if he's trying to pile up Pulse Nova during the fights.
Look at how careful virtus.pro is. They don't see anybody on the map from their enemy team. And everybody being super careful. Of course, we have got a smoke up by Alliance, so that's the reason why. But still, I mean, they are kind of like a little bit scared, perhaps. And they're going to try to find out where they are. Well, actually, they were scared, and they started to farm a little bit more again. Might be something that they might regret. We have got, I think, that Rider Timberwell probably going to go for a BKB. What do you reckon? He's got 3,200 gold.
It's also possible he goes for another side.
Oh, wow. Timberwell just scouted out the smoke, or at least EGM smoke fell off. And blinks away, so that's going to be Alliance not being able to do anything with their smoke. Never mind me.
Desolator's actually picked up on Alchemist, so he's the one who's going to go for the Desolator. That opens up Nature's Prophet to get something like an MKB if he wants to counter the evasion that Gyrocopter's bringing out instead. Doesn't have to use an item slot for that particular item, and he has 2,800 gold, so he's getting close to the point where he can start buying those damage items. Does want to probably save for buyback at this point in the game, though, even though Illidan really isn't.
Yeah, he just goes all in.
I don't know exactly what Tamarowald's going to want to go for. I think another Scythe could be very powerful for his team. Having another way to just keep Gyrocopter down if they catch him without the BKB up, or just trying to get the bear out of the fight as quickly as possible and holding him in place with that, because he's a very fast hero, naturally. Could be very strong. If he wants the BKB, it's okay if he gets caught by Puck, but it's not going to do anything against Entangles, and that's really their only other disable I think he'd be worried about. He just go for it. So it does help in stopping the Dream Coil from holding him in whenever he gets the lasso, which has happened to him multiple times this far, and maybe that's what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
But it's still very possible that the bear can just walk up, get a really lucky Entangle, and then the lasso's kind of wasted.
It is Bulldog that we're talking about, so lucky entangles. You know, it's not luck, but skill. Oh my god, I quoted someone. But yeah, I mean, that is indeed a very good factor. Like, the entangles and the bashes, you not only have to worry about that entangle, but the bash as well. It's going to be very tricky for both Batrider as well as Alchemist. But the one thing that, of course, forces this out as well, you now want to have the bear set on Tamarowald when he has his BKB active, and that means that Illidan will be free of the bear. So you're kind of splitting the attention away. As Roshan is back up, we're seeing that virtus.pro is going to go in first. Let's see if Alliance is going to let this happen, because they've already scouted out BKB. Lasso gets S4 up into the high ground with him, and S is going to be ready for that one, and that is going to be S4 getting himself face shifted out. Will still end up going down, and S might die for him as well, though. Mechanism and Pipe, it helps a ton, but not enough, and S will drop stun, lands on Bulldog as the entangle was there up on Illidan, and look at the damage. He is trying to kill a Bulldog before he gets killed of himself, and Bulldog does end up going down. EGM stuck inside a Sprout, trying to run, gets chased down by KSI. That's gonna be another kill going the way of Alliance, and that is gonna, or sorry, the going the way of virtus.pro rather, and that's gonna be virtus.pro taking a fight here. They lose only the Leshrac takedown and the Puck and the Lone Druid. Two heroes left alive for Alliance, one of them of course being the Gyrocopter, who did manage to pick up the gem again. That was purchased by his teammates, so that's good, but they do lose the fight overall. 14-14 is the kill score, and Roshan most likely going the way of virtus.pro unless there's going to be some buybacks happening right about now, but there's nobody on the side of Alliance that can actually buy back, never mind me.
Yeah, that's going to be Roshan going the way of VP. Without Bear up, they can't really hope to take this fight, and actually, he feeds a Visage Familiar there as well. That's 100 gold going the way of C that they don't need to be doing. Yeah, that's a very good fight for VP. I don't know how Airman didn't die. He was really low, and there were Visage Familiars chasing him, and then they pulled the Visage Familiars out as he TP'd away. I don't know if he's worried about the familiars just getting killed very quickly, or he thought that they weren't ever going to be able to get that kill. He was really low on HP though.
He was.
Regardless, he managed to get through it. He took down Bulldog, and that's really what I was expecting to happen. That with that Desolator, with that Abyssal Blade, now he's starting to be able to put out that damage, and he was able to hold Bulldog in place, which is very important with that Abyssal Blade, just to burst him down as quickly as possible. And without Bulldog on the fight, Alliance don't really have that much game right now.
No, they really need Loda to step up his farm if he can. I mean, Loda has 3,500 gold, so he can already buy the Eagle Horn if he wants to, but it is... like, he then doesn't have buyback, and you kind of want to have buyback at this point, because if virtus.pro right now win a fight, they can take you high ground, and that's not where you want to be, so you need that buyback. Looks like he's gonna buy it. Yeah, he's gonna complete right now, so that will be loaded with the butterfly. Of course, the whole idea is behind it is that he doesn't die, so he doesn't need to buy back, but we'll see what he can do with this. It definitely helps him and his team in terms of him being more of a semi-carry than he has been so far.
It's not just that he's not particularly likely to die, it's that they need items up on him for him to do anything in these fights. He needs that damage, he needs to be able to attack quickly and try and take down some of these supports that are just moving around from VP. Leshrac survived way too long in that fight, and some of that just comes back to the fact that Loda doesn't do the damage he needs to be doing. So having, like, if he buys back and still doesn't do damage, it's not actually that big of a deal, like, whatever. So he needs to pick up something like a butterfly just to finish it off, get going, and be able to put out some damage in the fights. He's also likely to start getting closer to that buyback money by the time I think the next fight takes place anyways.
Yeah, and of course one of the big factors that kept NS alive for a long time is Arsard. Pipe and Mech healed him up for so long, and then you have Nova just going on a little bit longer, and Alliance just trying to take down a support while their carries are already under siege, and that's a big problem for them. They do have their own mechanism right now, but that pipe still is making a difference for sure. I'm actually thinking, like, up against a Venomancer, you almost need a pipe of your own. But nobody is really in the place to buy anything of like that, because Aki doesn't get enough gold for that. We've got EGM that has got a Force Staff and a Ghost Scepter, because he needs to be a bit more of a semi... like a bit more number 4 role than Aki is, so he needs to be that factor to be able to turn games around, because I mean, Rubiks do have that potential to just completely change around fights if he is able to stay alive long enough and, you know, steal that one crucial spell, which in this case could be the Venomancer ulti, for example, even though he would be up against a pipe, then again. But yeah, actually they smoke up their go again. The Bears, in the meantime, gonna get last suit, so they know that that's down. But Blink in, Dream Coil, S4 already gets hexed. Nice cooldown coming down. BKB's turned on. What can they do with that butterfly? KSI taking a ton of damage, going down together with Arzo, together with an S3 down. One buys back already, but Bulldog gets pounded on. Hex up on Illidan. This time they might be able to bring him down in time, and it looks like that's the case. But he has got an Aegis. Bulldog will hang back while his bear will do the heavy lifting for him, and that's going to be a telekinesis, and Illidan will be dropped down. The only one that's left alive is the one that bought back. It's C that has got his MKB and just decided, you know what, I'm going to go top because I know that I won't be staying alive in the mid lane. That butterfly made a ton of difference. He was actually able to do a ton of damage to those supports.
Yeah, and if the supports from VP die before they can really get too much done, then Alliance takes the fight very easily, and that's what we saw happen there. Also, great initiation that came out from S4, and then, of course, the scythe at the end to make sure that Illidan was not going to be able to get away or try and catch Admiral Bulldog there. And that's going to be this whole set of Rex, it looks like, unless Illidan can stop this, but it's pretty risky for him to go in. He doesn't have BKB off cooldown quite yet. Oh, it's up now.
Yeah, and if he goes down here, which looks like he is not because Alliance does back off, but if he would go down here, he doesn't have buyback, he just used it, he's charging up the stun, he's gonna go in again. This might be trouble. Why is he doing this? Telekinesis is gonna be there. The BKB cannot be popped because he is Hex and he is dead. S4 gonna Hex as well, but now the damage source is gone, and virtus.pro hide and... well, hide. Just hide and run. Run and hide. I don't know. I don't care. Alliance with this win. Again, for the second time, they can take more than just one Rex. They could actually go bottom lane as well, I think, if they want to. I mean... the
game is over with that, I believe. Because, yeah, both Cassie and Illidan don't have buyback, and they died again in that fight. They're going to take all of the Rex. They'll take 2 sets of Rex from maybe tier 4s. They have 60 seconds, and they have a farmed lone druid. He's just going to absolutely shred all of the buildings in the base here.
Yeah, this is the last, this is the last bear that's up. He's back to full HP though, but yeah, this is probably game. We do have one full set of Rex still standing, and virtus.pro, they're not calling it just yet, so they have hope that they can still take this. But they are not allowed to die again. Hex up. Venomancer, Pipe and Mech gonna be keeping him alive for a little while longer. Not so lucky though for the Bat Rider. He ends up going down, and this is Alliance. They don't even care about the top lane. They just go for tier 4s. Alchemist will be back up again in 10 seconds. Might be able to make a difference. We still don't have a Nature's Prophet for another 10 seconds though. And in that 10 seconds, Alliance might be able to take down Rex. virtus.pro, they're just gonna see it happening before their eyes. No fortification. This is, of course, the winners bracket finals. And virtus.pro, they don't want to give it up. They're gonna, like, they wanted to try, but they can't. GG gets called as the throne goes down. Hold on to the very bitter end there. virtus.pro, they are one game behind. Alliance take game number 1 after being 5-0 behind at the start. And Alliance did not have the gold earned advantage. They did not have the gold advantage at any point in this game. That is impressive for Alliance. We already talked about it during the pre-show. They are strong when playing from behind, and this game definitely showed that.
Yeah, definitely. And Lone Druid, one of the heroes that can very easily do that. If you make a mistake later in the game, Lone Druid will punish you very hard with how quickly he takes down towers. And that's what we saw happen. Illidan, he ran out, tried to save his BKB again for just a little too long.
Yep, and we are gonna have a bit of a discussion about how this game actually went. Stick with us as we're gonna have a post-game analysis, and of course we're gonna be jumping ourselves into the second game of this winners bracket finals. It is virtus.pro Alliance, and of course, anyway, no, I'm not gonna say anything more. Let's just jump ourselves out of this game, and then we'll head ourselves into the next game real soon, so stick around.